Namaskaram, everyone. First of all, I'd like to pay my deepest gratitude to all my gurus from the North, Niranjani and Juna Akhada, and all great gurus like Sai Baba, Babaji, and all gurus who have helped me in this, and more than anything, Lord Raghunath ji, Pranavananda ji, and all the Devi-Devtas of Himachal. I'll be presenting this topic on the indigenous goddesses of Himachal Pradesh. The major chunk of my presentation has Shaktipitas and indigenous folk goddesses. But since we all are aware of Shaktipitas already, I would like to skip this section because we have limited time. So primarily, the goddesses of Himachal, they are of different categories. So we have Devis and Devtas and Nagas, the Nagalokas, who fall under the Puranic category. Puranic is a very small percentage. The root of all the Devis are primarily Puranic, but from there begins the indigenous culture. So there are many versions of local goddesses. And 90% of the goddesses are all indigenous goddesses that we have never heard of. And the roots for all these stories are all oral traditions that have been passed on from one generation to another through grandmothers, grandpas, and the generational priests and the gurus. So there's an interesting thing about the Devi-Devtas. They have something called the Bharta, which is an autobiography given by the god himself about his origin and the whole history of where he comes from, which forest. And the Devtas are usually not in the form of a murti. The murtis have been constructed much later, like they've been sculpted later, and the primary aspect is that they have moras. The moras are either made of ashtadhatu, panchadhatu, or an alloy of three metals. The peculiar thing about these moras is that every devta has a unique mora. And some have 3, some have 5, 7, usually in odd numbers. And Palki is the devta which is only taken out on special occasions. The best thing about Himachal is the rest of the places, we have to go to the god. But here, you call upon the god and there's a live streaming of gods. So that's Himachal for you. So let me take you through the local folklore. Ever imagined a world where you could call upon devtas to solve your day-to-day woes? A world where devtas are up for chai and conversations, where lines between the devtas and you are blurred. A land where divine right of kingship is a norm. And the devtas, your friends, counselor, psychologists, metaphysicians, and healers. Let's travel back to the age of Matsya Purana, when a disastrous flood threatened the universe. But one wise man survived it all. How blessed by Vishnu was Rishi Manu. With species of each living being, he arrived at a land that stole his heart. At the end of the habitable world, a new cycle on earth began. The cradle of humankind, Manu Alaya, the abode of Rishi Manu. Further up in the Vana of Dungri sits the goddess of demons, ruling over the treacherous Rotang Pass. enchanted by the mighty Bhima who defeated her notorious brother Hidimba. Hidimba became the queen of his heart and the present day Manali. A little away from Manali, in the woods of Shuru village, a goddess resides as the form of Kanjika Parvati, the guru of mighty Hidimba. It is at her feet that Arjuna won over the Pashupati Astra. In her presence burns an infinite dhuni. On the night before Shivratri, she fasts for Bholenath. 7 kilometers down Manali, in the ancient capital of Nast, they say there was a village with fields of gold sown by the Pandavas, abundantly blessed by SANDHYA GAYATRI, the Dhyana Rupa of Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh. As root of her existence, she is the light of Trigunas, the union of day and night. She is creation herself, the creator of Vedas. Her energy is mantra and vak, the beholder of Panchatattvas. As Trikala Sandhya, she controls the breaths of yoga. She is the essence of life and knowledge within us. Gayatri Yavruthi Sandhya Dvija Brinda Nisheshvita Tattvasana Tattvamayi Panchakosandara Sthita. In the ancient village of Nast, I'll just go forward. Okay, I would like to play this video just so that you get an idea of what live channeling is all about. Why is it not playing? It was playing some time ago. No, but अभी थोड़ी देर पहले चल रहा था ना? चल रहा था, मैंने टेस्ट किया था. फोल्डर से नहीं होगा. एम्बेडेड. नहीं, ये वाला नहीं है. नहीं, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले मैंने टेस्ट किया था. मेन तो यही है. I don't have all the videos. I only have like 1 or 2. But it was playing sometime. अभी टेस्ट किया था ना मैंने, तो प्ले हो रहा था. हाँ, सब चेक किया था. ओके.
ये .mov फाइल है ना, क्विक टाइम नॉट अवेलेबल बोल के आ रहा है.
अभी ट्राई किया था तो ये विल डिस्प्ले.
VLC मीडिया प्लेयर है तो भी चलेगा. VLC मीडिया प्लेयर है. और प्रेजेंटेशन लोకి వెళ్ళిపోయింది అది.
Okay, we'll get back to Nast. In the ancient village of Nast, there lived an ordinary potter boy. The lines of his feet spoke. He's born to rule. Once chased by barbaric kings, an old woman rescued the boy, enlightening him with a tale of his fate. She asked him to fix his eyes over a horizon. What he could clearly see shall be his own kingdom. Blessed was Raja Jagat by the grace of Devi Hidimba. Thus all the joys and pleasures of the world existed in the village of Jagatsuk. Further, as the kingdom flourished, Raja Jagat Singh once encountered a floating tale of Durga Dutt, who possessed a bag full of rare pearls. Driven by greed, his men tormented the Brahmin. Tattered by the accusation, he burnt himself to ashes. The ghosts of his past haunted the Raja as blood and worms, the curse of Durga Dutt, threw the king in a sick rut. No remedy could lift the curse of bloodshed, but the Charnamrit of Lord Rama. The Raja traveled to Ayodhya to get home the idol of Lord Raghunathji from Tretnath. Moved by the love of his lord, Raja gave up his throne, and Lord Raghunathji lived on as the king of Kulu. They reveled in the homecoming of the Lord with a confluence of all the Devi-Devtas celebrating Kulu Dashera. Lord Raghunathji sets out on a Rath Yatra to meet his people and the otherworldly deities, gaining victory over the evil, burning the Lanka, a symbol of the evil, by the banks of Beas. Further ahead of Jagatsuk lived the conjoined twin goddesses Docha and Mocha at the tiny hamlet of Gazan. As Bala Tripura Sundaris, at her Gazan Mela, divinity sparks the mashala. Further up towards Nagar lives a Devi who is Mayavi. Transforming into a Makara, she wove the village of Nagar. The Kulaj to the royal family of Kulu, she is the essence of Sachidananda. The weaver of life and death, she is Rajarajeshwari and Tridevi. The master of Navarasas, the Ichha Shakti, Kriya Shakti, and Dhyana Shakti. The sacred geometry of Sri Yantra, she is Trilokeshwari. Or at her feet exist all three worlds. It is in her light, the divine tapestry of life and death is woven. None of the videos are playing actually. So let me give you an illustration of a video. Okay. This is the live channeling. So the gur is, the deity is invoked within the gur, and the gur has to go through. This is at the Docha Mocha temple of Gazan. So the gur is the channel who communicates on behalf of the devta. And a gur has to undergo an arduous journey of burying himself for 40 days. And if he comes out alive, then he is appointed as the gur. And in case he dies, the devta gives away all his jewelry to the gur's family as a compensation. So the devtas not only operate as a spiritual force, but they also take geographical decisions. Like, if you have to cut trees, you have to seek the permission of the devtas. When the shepherds go up in the hills, the forest devta will guide you whether the grass is ready for grazing and if the herbs can be picked. So they are also the ecological forces. And then you have another devta, and I have to mention him. Yeah. And then you have a clan of 18 devtas who happened to come to Kulu Valley with Rishi Jamdagini. And he was just resting at Chandrakeni Pass, and the wind blew away all the devtas from the basket, and they were scattered across Kulu Valley. So these 18 devtas have to be present at the Kulu Dashera to pay homage to Raja Raghunathji. So this is a ceremony of the Nag Devtas. So the musical instrument is, the band is called Bazantri. So whenever Bazantri is played, that gets the shaman into the trance. This is at the Phai Nak temple. It happens all year round, almost every day. Yeah. So, okay, let me just tell. So, I just need 5 minutes and I have to tell an important story. I can't miss this god. By the banks of River Byas, high up in the mountains of Kulu, sits the Lord of Lightning. Battling all the destructive forces of skies, he swallowed all currents upon Rishi Vyasa's plea. The lightning cracks his lingam, restored by the visions of the priests. Doused in butter, he comes to form with his electric moods, swings the weather. All MET reports crash in the face of Bijleshwar Mahadev. So he is like the official meteorological department of Kullu. So, I mean, people would ask Bijli Mahadev what's the status of the weather rather than any other source.
Do you have a picture?
Yes, yes, I have. Actually, it was playing a while back. I don't know, there's a That's Bijli Mahadev. It's Bijli Mahadev. It's actually a butter shivling. Yeah.
Open it on PowerPoint.
Would you like to see the Devis or the Devtas? I'm skipping the Shakti Pitas because we are all aware of it. So we'll just deal with that's SANDHYA GAYATRI, the one, the second one. Yes. I wish I could have played this, but that's SHARVARI Ma. She is the Kanjika Parvati. She is the guru of Hidimba. Yeah. And even today, goddess Hidimba visits her temple before Kullu Dashera to sweep the floor. So there is no ego between the gods. The gods travel all the way to meet their relatives and their brothers and sisters, and they hang out and have chai. And they even visit the devotee's house for a meal during the Melas. So there is no disparity between the gods and its people. They are always accessible. That's Devi Docha Mocha. Tripura Sundari. It's one of the most beautiful temples in Nagar. That's Kunzum Mata. So there's an interesting thing about Kunzum Mata. So every time you pass Kunzum Mata, doesn't matter who you are, how big you are or how small you are, an HRTC bus, even today, takes a full parikrama of the shrine before crossing the pass. That's Hidimba Devi. That's actually like, I don't have a picture of her. It's a painting. Okay, so I have to speak about the Nag Matrikas. Devi Budi Nagin she sits at Selosar Lake, and she is known as the mother of all the Nag Devtas in Himachal Pradesh. And Goshal Nag Mata, we have to mention her because she gave birth to 18 Nag Devtas who serve as oracles for people. So every year at Goshal, Kanchan Nag goes into deep meditation for 1 month, and fields are not plowed, no music instruments, no television, no radio in the entire village. Kanchan Nag sits with Gautam Rishi and Ved Vyasa. They all sit together. So the lore was that they were found by a dumb farmer. And when they were digging the farm, that's when they heard noises. And that's how the stone Sthapana came into existence. After 1 month, just before like a month, when he sits in meditation, there is a pindi that's made with sieved mud. And it's pure mud. So when they make the pindi, and they lock the temple for like 1.5 months. And during Fagli, in February, when they open, and the pindi is already cracked open, and you can find objects like apple leaves, coal, hair, stone, and sindoor. So if there's sindoor, which means there's going to be many weddings in the valley. If there are apple leaves, it's good harvest. If it's coal, which means there's going to be forest fires. And if there are stones, there are going to be floods. And last year, when Manali had like major floods, it was a clear prediction that this year there are going to be floods because they are making the 4-lane highway, and the Devtas had already warned against it. And they had already warned against the Rotang digging also, which is for the tunnel. So if you go against the Devtas, they'll really screw your case, actually. So I can go on and on about these, but I would like to...
Actually, can we just see the rest of the picture?
Yeah, sure. That's the good.
You promised a song.
Yes, I will definitely sing it. That's Devta Raghunath ji. So these are the Matsya relics found in the forest, which you can also find shaligrams in Laol Spiti, which is a proof that Himalayas was actually underwater during the Matsya Purana. And nobody messes with Jamdagini Rishi, okay? He's really strict, and he can actually put a jurmana on you. And he hates women. So that's Rishi Vashishta. It's also related to the Ramayana story where Ram and Lakshman had come to Vashisht for Guru Diksha. And Lakshman shot this arrow, and the kund came into existence, and it has miraculous properties. It's a sulfur spring. That's Banara Nag and Phai Nag. They are brothers. So they always run a race during the Mela. So who reaches first? And the palki moves by itself. Although it's unbelievable, I know. It's challenging the norm of what a Devta should be like. But it moves on its own. That's the whole point of, the Devta channels. Why it's called the living gods? Because they are live there. You don't have to do a pratishtha, or you don't have to do an avahana to call them. They are already there. It's Kanchan Nag's temple, the oracle of Manali, and Vasuki Nag. So sacrifices are quite common. Thankfully, it's not human sacrifice anymore. But there was a time in Bhima Kali's times. So this is a sloka from Mahabharata. It actually talks about Kulanthapitha, which was won over by Arjuna, and Brihanta was the king. So this is a Gur ceremony. Sorry, sir, but... Okay, so I have to talk about Kahika. Even the Devtas have to clear karmas. So every year they have to go for a cleansing ceremony. The Guru will be called and said that, you have not made the development here. What about this? You have created a mess in the Devta system. So you have to pay the Jurmana, clear your karmas. So it's not... The best part is they are as good as human beings. And Fera is the yatra of the deities. They visit the relatives and everyone, literally. Like Bijli Mahadev has to buy a nut for Parvati Ma to convince her to come to Kullu Dashera. Otherwise, Kullu Dashera doesn't happen. That's a picture of... so yeah, gods are very much like us. So my observations are the humane aspect to gods, that we all have the Dev Tattva within us. And we just need to be open to that. We don't have to go anywhere to see God. They are just there. And that's what Himachal has taught me, the simplicity of ask and you shall receive. I can't sing the folk song. Okay, so this is a this is a folk song which narrates a story of the Ganga, Shiva, and Parvati. So it's like a love triangle. Dhudu nachaya jata wo khalari wo dhudu nachaya jata wo khalari ho गौरा पुछ दी तू लग दी क्या मेरी हो गौरा पुछ दी तू लग दी क्या मेरी हो गंगा बोली मैं सौकर्ण तेरी हो गंगा बोल दी मैं सौकर्ण तेरी हो गंगा गौरा सरोसर लड़ी हो गंगा गौरा सरोसर लड़ी वो गंगा लई गया भगीरथ चिलावो गंगा ले गया भागीरथ चिलावो धोड़ू रही गया अकेला ही अकेला हो धोड़ू ले गया अकेला ही अकेला हो गौरा कही दिया पीड़ लगाई हो गौरा या पीड़ and then Shiva comes and then pleads to Parvati that, you know, come on, let's settle it down. And that's the story of Bharmani Mata. So that's why every time you visit Mani Mahesh, you have to pay a visit to Bharmani Mata first, because she was angry and she went and sat there. So that's the beautiful part. Goddesses here are not like different. They have their own individualistic nature. They are very independent. So yeah, they might be married. And you won't believe SANDHYA GAYATRI is actually unmarried, although she handles all three Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshas. So that's the beauty of the goddesses. I can keep going on and on about the goddesses, but the time is a... Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you very much.
But I feel sad that I couldn't...
The presentation was as exotic as Himachal Pradesh is. It's a mystic place, and Divya ji, a mystic presenter.
Sir, actually the PPT was more mystical than me.
That's why it didn't appear to us, normal people.
No, these file formats, they mystify you if you don't understand them, like the Devatas.
I checked that it was clean and okay.
Yeah. Okay.